You wake up early every morning, study charts constantly, feel like you're finally improving, and somehow you're still losing money. Nothing messes with your mind more in trading than that. Because in the beginning, losing almost makes sense. You're new. You don't understand momentum yet. You chase everything. You enter too late. You hold too long. You panic sell. You revenge trade. At least back then, the losses felt explainable. But eventually something changes. You start recognizing patterns faster. You begin understanding why certain setups fail. You stop chasing every random stock that moves. You become more patient. You start noticing weak pullbacks. You recognize backside action sooner. You understand volume differently now. You finally feel like you're learning. And somehow, that's when trading becomes even more frustrating. Because now the confusion gets replaced with something worse. Self-doubt. You start wondering, if I'm improving, why am I still not making money? And that question slowly starts following you everywhere. Every morning your alarm goes off when it's still pitch black outside. Most people are still asleep. But you're already sitting in front of charts, scanning pre-market runners, watching candles form, looking for opportunity, looking for the setup that finally feels clean enough. Some mornings there's nothing. Other mornings everything feels choppy. Then occasionally, a stock starts moving. And for a moment, you feel that excitement again. Maybe this is finally the trade where everything clicks. Maybe today is different. Maybe this is the setup you've been waiting for. But then the stock reverses, or momentum fades instantly, or you hesitate, or you chase the breakout, or you get trapped in a halt, or the move works perfectly without you. And suddenly, you're red again. Another red day. Another emotional hit. Another moment sitting there staring at your P&L, wondering what you're doing wrong. That's a stage nobody talks about, honestly. The middle stage. The stage where you're no longer clueless, but you're not consistently profitable either. You're stuck somewhere in between. And honestly, this is where most traders break emotionally. Because this stage feels endless. This is where you start noticing every sacrifice, every early morning, every stressful loss, every missed move, every weekend spent studying instead of relaxing, every dollar lost while trying to learn a skill that still hasn't paid you back yet. Eventually, dangerous thoughts start creeping in. What if I'm wasting my time? What if I'm just not cut out for this? What if everyone else figures it out except me? What if I never become profitable? Those thoughts hit differently after enough red days, especially when you know you're improving in certain ways. That's what makes this stage so mentally exhausting. If you were still completely clueless, at least the losses would make sense. But when you start seeing progress, while the P&L still stays red, that's when trading starts becoming psychological warfare against yourself. Because now it feels like your effort isn't being rewarded. And trading has a way of making you feel stupid, even when you're smarter than you were 6 months ago. That's the contradiction people outside of trading don't understand. They assume learning should automatically equal profit. They think, if you're getting better, shouldn't you be making money by now? But trading doesn't work like that. Someone can improve dramatically while still being unprofitable. That disconnect slowly starts messing with your identity. Because now you're trapped between two realities. You know you've improved, but your account still doesn't fully reflect it yet. So every red day feels personal. Every mistake sticks in your head all day long. You replay trades constantly. You wonder if one small decision would have changed everything. You start questioning yourself more than ever. And social media makes it even worse. Because most trading content only shows massive green days, P&L screenshots, sports cars, confidence, and huge winners. What people rarely show is this stage. The lonely stage. The stage where someone is quietly waking up every single day trying to become better, while secretly wondering if it's ever going to work. That's the reality for a lot more traders than people realize. And honestly, this is the hardest stage of the entire journey. Not learning charts, not understanding indicators, not taking the first trade. The hardest part is continuing, while the results still haven't fully arrived. That's the real test, because eventually trading forces you to confront every weakness you have. Your impatience, your ego, your fear, your greed, your impulsiveness. Everything gets exposed eventually. And maybe that's why the process takes so long. Because the market is not just teaching you a strategy, it's changing your behavior. Slowly, painfully, one mistake at a time. That's why some traders can study for years and still fail emotionally. Because trading is not just about intelligence, it's about emotional survival. That's the part nobody can really prepare you for. You can know exactly what you should do and still struggle to actually do it consistently under pressure. You can recognize a clean setup and still hesitate. You can know you should cut the loss and still freeze for a moment too long. You can promise yourself not to chase and still click buy emotionally after a stock starts running. That's why this process becomes so mentally exhausting. Because eventually you realize the battle is no longer just against the market, it's against yourself. And honestly, that realization changes people. Because once you've gone through enough losses, enough frustration, enough self-doubt, you slowly stop looking at trading the same way. You stop searching for some magical indicator. You stop believing there's a perfect setup that guarantees success. You stop thinking profitability is going to happen overnight. And instead, you start realizing that consistency is probably built through survival, through reducing mistakes, through emotional control, through discipline, through learning how to protect yourself during bad conditions. And maybe, most importantly, through refusing to completely fall apart mentally during this stage. Because this stage is where most people quit. Not because they're incapable of learning, but because emotionally, they can't tolerate the uncertainty anymore. They need proof. They need validation. They need results. And when the results don't come fast enough, they walk away. But here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of future profitable traders probably looked completely unprofitable at one point. A lot of them probably questioned themselves constantly. A lot of them probably sat in silence after another red day, wondering if this dream was unrealistic. That's the part nobody sees once someone finally becomes successful. People only see the profitable trader. They don't see the years of frustration before that. They don't see the emotional exhaustion. They don't see the internal battles. They don't see the mornings where someone questioned whether they should even continue. And maybe that's why this stage matters so much. Because surviving this phase changes people. It forces growth. It forces self-awareness. It forces accountability. The traders who eventually make it through this stage usually come out different, more disciplined, more emotionally controlled, more patient, more self-aware, because pain eventually forces adaptation. And if you're currently in this stage right now, where you feel like you're improving, but the profits still aren't consistently there yet, just know this: you are not alone. This stage is real. This frustration is real. And honestly, I think this is the exact point where future profitable traders get separated from everyone else. Because most people won't survive this phase emotionally. But the ones who do eventually become unrecognizable compared to who they were when they first started. If this video connected with you at all, and you enjoy these kinds of real conversations about trading psychology, discipline, and the reality of this journey, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. I genuinely want to know where you are in your journey right now. And if you're currently fighting through this stage, keep going, not recklessly, not blindly, but intelligently. Keep improving. Keep studying yourself. Keep reducing mistakes. Because sometimes the progress is real, even before the profits fully show up.